Hello, a pleasant good morning to you. A pleasant good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 28th day of October in the year 2024. Welcome one and all. And let me tell you, the thing, let me put up the banner. Share the live. Let them know that we are here this morning and that we are going to be bringing you all the credible information. We're going to tell you all that you need to know. Share the live. Give us the thumbs up. Again, we have almost 500 at this time. Only 14 thumbs up. Oh, come on, man. By now, you have to know when you come on, once the program starts, give us our due. Give us a thumbs up. And that's you showing your appreciation for all the hard work we are doing. So yes, share the live. Let them know, your colleagues know that we have so much to tell you. Every day we come and we bring you the credible and the valuable information. My colleague, Mr. Conway, CC as he's referred to, is already in the studio, rearing and ready to go. And he is going to be joining us very shortly. So share the live. Today, as I've said, Monday the 28th day of October 2024. Another beautiful day, another day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. So many persons have not been that fortunate. So share. Give us a thumbs up, and we are going to be with you in a short while. The program was scheduled just before, I think, around 6:58 this morning. And immediately, the students were pouring into the schoolyard. Immediately. One man told me, I said, Skipper, I can't understand this thing. He tried to get in there at 7, but by the time when he got in at 7, he was like number 16 or something like that down the line. We have hundreds and hundreds of students in the schoolyard. And let me tell you, the number of students in the schoolyard today was a record. We have never had this large number in the schoolyard before. So I thank you. For the interest you continue to show in the program. And I say to you, don't be selfish. Share to others. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And somebody told me that they subscribe and they don't get the notice. Well, that could very well be because you subscribe to the channel, but you have not hit the notification button. You see, once you subscribe, there's a little bell. I think it's on the right side. There's a little bell. You have to hit that bell. That tells the system that whenever the program goes on, you must get a notification. But if you only subscribe and you do not hit that bell, you're not going to be notified that the program is live. So make that correction. And if you are on Facebook, all you have to do is to like the page, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, and you follow it, and you're going to similarly get notifications whenever the program is live. So share, hit the notification button, give us the thumbs up, and we are going to be with you. Again, I'm going to really fly through this roll call this morning because we have a lot of students, the most students we have had in the schoolyard ever, the most ever. And again, I compliment you for that. Excuse me. So here we go. At 6:58, when the program was scheduled, we had a lot of students came in at the same time, about 10 students. Started with Sean, then Derek, Sydney, Marcia, Patricia, Tessa, Anthony, Evelyn, Floyd, the Kanamaruku man, Puran, Magnell. They all came at 6:58 when the school gate was open, followed by 6:59. We had Melissa, Kenneth, Cecile, Winston, Marcia, Mary, Peter, Carl Johnson, Aubrey. Then we had Barlett from Linden came in. They all came at 6:59. So all of those persons were here before 7. And then at 7 o'clock, it was Joan, Gaston, my squaddy from Canada, Desiree from Georgia, Patricia. Then it was Rhonda Chance. Let me, hold on. Somebody's calling me and putting me off. Raul is here. Raul is here. He came in at 7. Then it was Felicia, followed by Brian, Brendan, Anka, Diane, Lennox. All they came in at 7. Then at 7:01, we had Oren, Aileen, Wayne, Carlton, Courtney, Leon, Vibert, Brennan. Brennan is so far down you are. Pauline, that came in at 7:02. Then the others started to flow in. African Queen, Barbara, Clifton, Essie, TK, all the way from California. Denise from Florida. Then the other Denise, the secretary, is here as well. Marva, V. John, Everett, the man from Texas. Charlene, Russ, Ricardo is here with us. Vibert, and this is Vibert Lawson from New York. Then we have Sean, Earl, Patricia, Bonita, Pamela from West Dem, Fargus, Farda. I never see this person student before. This must have been a new student, or is the first time this student is commenting. Father Masha, wonder what you mashing. Then we have Michael. Then it was Derek, Lennox, Sheena, Carlisle, Ovid, Kevin, Sharwin, Brenda, William, Vivian, Hazel, John, Kay, Ronald, Dennis, Jean, Melville, Clifton from Paris, Clarence, Raul, Sandra, Patrick, Abira, 1111, Dexter, and after Dexter, it was Wayne, Vibert from the East Bank, then Wayne from the UK, all the way from the UK, Aubrey, then it was Emerson, followed by Forbes, Neville, George, Ruth, the man, Christmas is here, Simo from Texas is in the house, Lyndon, David, and this is David Lindo, then George, Princess, Orion from the UK, Marcus, Richard, Jacko from Georgia, Lucius from Maryland, Onika, Phil, then it was Annette, Queenie from Brooklyn, Rhonda Lane is in the house, then I'm still in the house, Clive from UK, Jakey from Maryland, Paul, then after Paul it was Sagi from Barbies, Barnett, Jamal, Rosalind, Joseph, Pito is here, Anthony, Heather, Monica, Sharman, then it was Nigel, followed by Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana, O'Neill, Floyd, Marcus, Walterine, Machu, Moses, then after Moses it is another Machu, then it was Derek, Grantley, Nicola, Malcolm, Daniel, Grace is here with us. Grace is gracing us with her presence. Janella, the original black man is here. Danny is with us. Rastaman, Claremont, Angela, Isabella, Allison, Henrik, Lorraine, and this is Lorraine Hall, followed by Carl, my squad mate from Arizona, Mr. G, Royston, Colin from New Jersey, Amanda, Como from 8218, what is number, he's from New Jersey too, Colin Sanford from Queens, Dexter Ainsworth, the man K, Trevor, Rohan is here, Wesley, the Angel is amongst us, Angel, Umi is here, then it was another, Stephen, Cord, Wesley, Sandrine is here, Bray, Selwyn, and this is Selwyn McClintock, Gordon, John, David, then it was Patricia, Joseph, Richard, Rayborn, Dorette, then the Keelan, Melville, Morton, Diane, Colin, Old Police 6984, Bonnie is here, Doreen from Canada, Ulrich from Barbados, Howard, Karen, and the Kurt, MH, June is here, and David, Sharon, Ulrich from West Demerara is very much here. Audrey, welcome. Carville, Vernon, Floyd, Sherwin, Colin. Then it was Lorraine Ann, Lyndon, Monica, R. Crawford, Ceylon, Oral, Shemlin, Mark, Jason, Courtney. Then it was Ian, Gordon, Raul, Sabrina, Donald Dunsford from Mocha in the house. He always says that. He always announces that Mocha is here with us. Simone, Lester, Marlin, Carol. Then after Carol is Chilo, Wayne, Michael Brower. Then it was Marlon and Sharon, Lorraine, Wenda, Then we have Vanessa, there Orville, Patricia, Patrick. After Patrick, it is Claire, Wenda, Beverly, Albert, Cedric, Bumi, Norbert, Nigel, Tessa, the Patriot, Joseph, Mark, Delan, Derek, and this is Derek Willis, Kevin, David, Donna was the last person in the schoolyard. And when the school door was open, we have Karen, then Edward, always among the first, Claudine, and Simone, Wills, Carlton Popo, you don't miss out, Theodore, Magnell, Linda, and the list goes on and on and on and on. We can't continue to call just to show you how many students we have willing and ready to go. And again, I'm disappointed with the number of shares we have. That shares, the shares and the thumbs up. The shares and the thumbs up. You got to do your bit. You got to do your bit. So what we're going to do now, as is customary, I'm going to go into the announcements, and then I'm going to bring Mr. Conway in for us to start the substantive discussion. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you about, we start with these sad announcements. We did tell you on the last program that, let me see where it is, the death of Alfred Paul. One moment, bear with me. Let me pull it up so that I can give you the correct information. Right, we informed you on the last program of the death of retired Superintendent Alfred George Paul. We have the arrangements for his funeral, which will be on Wednesday. They say that the viewing, there will be a service at a Rokiam Funeral Home, I think that's in New Amsterdam, Wednesday from 11:30 to 12:30. Then he goes to his son's residence at Courtland Village Quarantine for viewing, and church service will take place at the Seventh Days Adventist Church, and burial will be at the Firish Cemetery. There is a wake tomorrow. There's a wake tomorrow at his son's residence, Courtland Village Quarantine. So that is the announcement for Alfred George Paul. Those of us who would remember Paul, short man, used to call him Festus was his call name. So he passed recently, and his funeral will be on Wednesday. So those Sagi and those boys on the quarantine, I'm sure you will go there to pay your respects. We also told you about the passing of a student, a loyal student, Debbie Collins. Now, we learned that our funeral service will be next Monday. That is November the 4th at the Big Dam Cathedral from 1 p.m. And then they say the final viewing will take place at the Memorial Gardens Crematorium, and she will be cremated at 4 p.m. next Monday, November the 4th. So again, I want to express condolences to all those, the relatives and friends of those persons who have passed. We hope that they rest in peace and they rise in glory. No one knows when the time will come. You know, this morning, as I was preparing this program, I got word from somebody from BV. Maybe George and this week can confirm that my friend, it is a friend, and I never knew his correct name, but we used to call him Face or Old Face. He had a little snack, a shop he used to sell just by the corner there of Republic Drive on Paul Slow Street. And I learned this morning that he passed away. I don't know the circumstances, but that's what I learned. So again, I want to, young, I'm not sure what his age is, but I show you, was in the 40s or something like that. Young man passed away sometime. And you got, as I said over and over, you got some of these jagabats and some of these amphibians, they're around making people's life miserable. But they got to stay around and punish. They have to pay around. The good Lord don't make mistakes. So he has them there for a reason, to stay and to punish. So again, condolences to the relatives, friends of those persons who have passed. Birthday greetings. Birthday greetings. We have, we don't have any birthday today or that we know of as such. Some people say birthday, some people say birthday anniversary, whatever it is. It's a day that a lot of people celebrate. We don't have any today. But I got to send out, on the last program, we gave advanced birthday greetings to Rich Forever Chilo, who is on the live here now. So I want to say belated birthday greetings to him as well, because his birthday was on the 26th, and we gave him advance, and we are giving him belated as well. He deserves that. So Chilo, tell that person who was behind you that you must get a belated, that it was given to you. And I learned this morning, the older policemen will remember, not this morning, I learned that Patrick Baxter, celebrated a birthday, his 86th birthday recently. Patrick, 6777 Baxter. When we were in training school in 1974, he was one of the instructors there. And I remember Patrick was a chairman of the police association, one of the vibrant chairmen of the police service commission. Yeah, Patrick celebrated his 86th birthday recently. So yeah, so that's what we have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to move on. CC, but before you come in, remember, as you come in, we had West Indies pull out they won the last match, man. They won the first match of the tour in the T20, and then they won the last match on the 50 over game. A victory is a victory. I mean, the last both series, but at least they get save some pride by winning the last game. How are you, my brother?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. Surprisingly, I didn't watch the match. My wife, who's a ardent cricketer, who watched them more than me. Yeah, we didn't remember until we saw the news. So I didn't watch it. But then, as I mentioned, a victory is a victory, man.
Yeah, they won it by DL. The Sri Lankans were batting first, and when they made 180 something, I think it was, rain came, and then when the game was resumed, they could not have resumed their innings, and West Indies had to chase with the Duckworth Lewis do something, and Evan Lewis and Royal Ford, they are the ones who took it home. So I didn't watch, but I followed it on Cricket Info. So that is what we have. I didn't watch. We followed it on Cricket Info. Now let me the first thing, let me compliment the police. Some people say you don't do it after, but I'm complimenting the police for the arrest of a murder and a rape suspect. And let me read the article, it's a short thing. They say, Kaicho News, police on Saturday arrested two men during an operation at Kairuni, Baghdad, Linden Highway. The gun and narcotics found the show picture. The men have been identified as 26-year-old and a 27-year-old of Sophia, who were wanted for 3 counts of raping a child. Account of police release upon seeing the ranks on Saturday, the men tried to escape by running, but were pursued, and one of them fell and was captured in the process, while the other one was also apprehended about 25 meters away. A search was conducted on the one, and one suspected 9mm pistol, a suspected 9mm pistol with seal number 5 with 3 live rounds of 9mm ammunition and 1 9mm pen shell were found, along with a quantity of leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. He was asked if he's the owner of a firearm license, to which he replied in negative. Police took possession of 8 items and told him of the offense, committed, and placed him under arrest. The other person was arrested, and they were both escorted to Mackenzie Police Station, along with the firearm, ammunition, pen shell, and the suspected cannabis. The said firearm, ammunition, and spent shell were marked, sealed, and lodged. The suspect cannabis was weighed, and it amounted to 179 grams. This was placed in an evidence bag, marked, sealed, and lodged. Investigations on the way. That was good work. The police arrested him. But again, the corporate communication unit, this corporate propaganda unit, writing ass out of nonsense. Now, you change, the men were caught. Are they able to say, according to the police release, upon seeing the ranks on Saturday, the men tried to escape by running. The men tried to escape by running, but were pursued, and the one fell to the ground and was captured in the process. He fell and he was captured in the process, while the other one was apprehended about 25 meters away. Why all this unnecessary details? We tell them already. The men were arrested. They were arrested. If you want to say they tried to escape, they were pursued and arrested. But 21 fell to the ground and he was arrested in the process. And then the other one was arrested 25 meters away. And all type of unnecessary nonsense that is put in these releases. They believe that they're writing for some Z-class movie in Hollywood. These things are not necessary. We see again, apparently no proper vetting is taking place. So while we have to compliment the police for arresting these men, the release that is given by the corporate communication unit, I suspect is them, they write all sorts of nonsense. They write all sorts of unnecessary details they put in these things, unnecessary. You're telling the public about 2 men arrested, one wanted for rape, one wanted for murder. What is the importance of them running and falling down and you arresting in the process and the one was 25 meters away and all that nonsense? Why? Let me hear one of Mr. Conway can explain that, man. See, all this nuff garbage that they write. And they won't learn, they're not learning.
True, man. That's what my son would say, nonsensical nonsense. Oh, what's the nonsense? Where is it if one fell and the other one arrested 25 meters away? What was that? It's too much. And then they're talking about suspected weapon and all kind of nonsense, Paul. But then nobody vetting it. Nobody saying, hey, before this thing out, let me see it, that this case may be. So the people with no police experience writing all kind of nonsense.
Yeah, but the gun is a suspected 9mm pistol, but the ammunition is 9mm ammunition. Not suspected. So the gun is a suspected 9mm, but the ammunition, the ammunition is 9mm ammunition. My God help them. God got to help the guy in the police force with the unprofessional conduct of so many. Now we can talk about unprofessional conduct a little later. Now, the other matter that I want to read here is there are no Tracy, Doreen. There are no Tracy. If you tell them about Tracy, they can believe it's some little girl named so. They don't know what is Tracy. You can give all the necessary details without all this nonsense writing the writing. Right? That's the whole story. And the next one here, I see one. I'm gonna read this one too. Bandit fatally chopped after robbery at Port Moran. Robbery of Port Moran Goldsmith. This is something in Starbuck News yesterday. Hear what it says. A bandit died yesterday after being fatally chopped in the Port Moran market after he and an accomplice had robbed a goldsmith. The police last night identified the dead bandit as 18-year-old Parmanand Portab, called Mikey. The robbery occurred at about 9:15 a.m. Initial investigations revealed that the businessman, 31, went to his jewelry store at about 7:30 a.m. and about 9:15, he was pounced upon by the bandits while attending to customers. Portab had a cutlass and his accomplice had a gun. The businessman's employee was injured after he was attacked with the cutlass. The bandit with the gun made the jeweler lie on the ground and grabbed jewelry and stuffed it into a blue drawstring bag. The businessman raised an alarm and persons in the market confronted the bandits. The gunman discharged 3 rounds in their direction, hitting one of the persons on his right leg and left thigh. Portab was confronted by several persons in the market who managed to disarm him, take away the bag, and handed him over to the police. All items stolen by the bandits were recovered and accounted for. Subsequently, Portab sustained several wounds about his body, causing him to fall to the ground. The person who suffered the gunshot wounds and Portab were rushed to the Port Moran hospital, where they both were seen by a doctor on duty. Portab succumbed to his injuries while receiving medical attention. The man who was shot was treated and he took his own discharge. The body of Portab was examined by the police and it was observed that he had 1 sharp wound to his right hand and 2 to his upper back. So, bandit, and note the bandit is Parmanand Portab. And let me bring in Mr. Conway, Parmanand Portab bandit. So people, it's not one set of people, the thief. CC is not one. So they just want to give the impression that there's only one set of people, the thief. It is not so. We know that it's not.
So true, And because when I saw the name, I had to ask the question, hey, is this, could we judge him by the name, I wanted to know, hey, is a different set of people committing robbery now, but that's how it is.
That's how it is. That's how it is. And let me say this now, as we move on, CC. We spoke some time ago about the Guyanese critic being charged with inflicting grievous. What is the charge? He was charged inflicting grievous bodily harm on a man by the name of Brian Prasad. Both of them were charged. And the question is asked, because up to now they have not answered it. Have they initiated the process to take away the gun, the license, to revoke the license issued to critic? And have they lodged that firearm as an exhibit in this case? Because the allegation is that the firearm was used to inflict the grievous body harm or bodily harm on Brian Prasad. They have not answered. And I would hope that the journalists and these reporters will ask them, what is the position with the firearm license or the firearm itself that critic used to assault this man? He's alleged to have assaulted him with the firearm. What is the position? And we're going to continue to ask questions. We're going to continue to ask these questions. Mr. Conway, we asked it before. They have not responded. Well, we didn't ask them, but I have not seen any release to suggest that they have initiated, as they should do, a process to revoke this license and to have this firearm lodged and as an exhibit in this case. What is your take, my brother?
Well, it's a wall of silence. But then the thing is, how in heaven's name critic was issued with a firearm? How is the heaven name his behavior, the kind of temperament that he displaying on television and elsewhere, and you're gonna put a firearm in his man's name, and then to compound it, allegation that he lashed a man with a firearm. Nothing to say whether the firearm was lodged. And then further to it, if that is true, the process writing him and asking him to show cause why the firearm license should not be revoked, but perhaps critic getting preferential treatment, or critic is untouchable. Animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
But this is also a straightforward case. The man has a firearm license, all right. He's alleged to have used it to assault a man. The matter, he is charged. The other man is charged. It is automatic that firearm is lodged as, in the first instance, as an exhibit. And while it is there as an exhibit in this case, you initiate the process for him to explain. You can't just, let me tell you all again, you can't just take away the man gun just like that. There is a process. He has to be written to and asked to show cause why the firearm license issued to him in respect to the same firearm should not be revoked. Give him chance to answer. Give him chance to explain himself. Natural justice. So I am hoping that they will do the right thing. We continue to come here and we advise them what is the correct procedure, and I hope that they are listening. If you take it now, you have every reason to take it now. But you take it now because it is lodged as an exhibit. It should have lodged at the same time as an exhibit. When the complaint was made that he used it to assault the man, it should have been lodged. And then after you carry, during the course of the investigation, the commanders have to write him to show cause why this firearm license should not be revoked. I hope they do the right thing. As CC said, do animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Now let me bring this to your attention, man. You remember a few weeks ago, let me put it up. Y'all remember this? Do you remember this? This is Big Smith News Watch. He said, if Irfan Ali confirms Akin as the top cop, indeed, we hope all the pharmacies got pressure pills and that their pressure testing kits are in working order because Paul Slow and Clinton Conway will need it. That is what Big Smith News Watch said about 2 weeks ago. Now, this same Big Smith News Watch is in the news again. In the news again, because over the weekend I learned that two lawsuits were filed against Big Smith News Watch and Leroy Smith. Two private lawsuits. One filed by the head of Soku, Karambash, for the tune of 600 million Guyana dollars for defamation of character in respect of articles that he wrote that Karambash provided Brutus with money to buy some property across the river. 600 million. Them by talking big money. And on the same day, another lawsuit, this time filed by Minister Anand Prasad for defamation again, and he won 5 million. So let me tell you this, Big Smith. I know I saw you were representing Brutus, but Brutus bank accounts are frozen by the code. They are frozen. So me know where you're going to get this money from. And remember, let me remind you, you haven't paid the people from the police office commission yet who got judgment against you. You haven't paid them yet. You haven't paid them yet, right? So, but let me tell you what you can do to get some money. You can go by the St. George's Cathedral and pray. It might be better for you to go and pray during the course of the evening. However, be guided by the fact that they now have a fence there. They have a fence. St. George's Cathedral, they got a fence, so you can't access the compound that easily. But maybe you can start going there and making sure you start to build your account. Put it somewhere for say where you're going to get compound interest. So by the time this matter done, you can find this $605 million to Karimbash and Prasad. They say karma is a bitch. You come out here attacking the two geriatrics. Oh, they have to get blood pressure kit and all sort of thing if they can appoint it. But we don't need the kit yet because you're not appointed yet. He is not appointed yet. So we are going to need the kit. And as I told you, I never suffer from blood pressure. At my last medical checkup, I was complimented by the doctor on the state of my health at the age that I was have acquired. And let me tell you, proper check, no STDs, right? So they check for all them STDs, syphilis, gonorrhea, AIDS, and all them things. Nothing. So I would say to you, first of all, make sure you get checked so that you don't have to get blood pressure kit and all of this everything. And make sure as you try to raise this money, a good place to start is by St. Joseph. You go there, they get the fence. Maybe you're athletic enough so you can jump the fence or go there and get your thing. Leave old people alone. Leave old people alone. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway, let me hear what you got to say about this thing, man. It's me and you, the man, attack, man.
Yeah. Leave the geriatrics alone. And then when you're going to pray, Paul, you got to kneel down, you know. You got to kneel down and pray. You can't stand up and pray, right? So you got to kneel down and pray. And then they get fence. You could hold on the fence, you know, to really get certain satisfaction. Hold on the fence. It's steel you got to deal with, right? So you can kneel down and pray and deal with it still.
It's steel he dealing with? I thought it's steel and wood. I thought the fence is made of steel, so he dealing with steel and wood. But let me see what can happen, man. Let me see. Now let me move on. Leave old people alone. Leave geriatrics alone, especially those who are making sense. Especially those who are making sense. Now, let me say this as I move on. You know, somebody told me over the weekend that some people are, they say, some people are annoyed with me and Mr. Conway for what they say we laughing at Brutus. They say we making mock and we rejoice over the fact that he get trouble. Let me tell you how it is. I will continue to rejoice. So those who vex will have to continue to be vexed. And as I say, who vex, lose. Who vex, drink more vex. That is what them little pictures say. And I'm going to tell you why I will continue to rejoice. I will tell you why. You know, they got something. I don't know if you're familiar. Let me see. They got a word named comeuppance. COMEUPPANCE. Students, check it out. Comeuppance. And it says here, if you get your comeuppance, you get a fair and deserved punishment for something bad you have done. It's a fair and deserved punishment for something bad you have done. So I have to celebrate the trouble that Brutus gets in from a personal level and from outline some things to you all in a short while. And one of the questions I have to ask first before I go forward, is he interdicted as yet? He appeared in court on Thursday, and if the system was efficient, like when Mark Phillips, the Lion Prime Minister, wrote to me and Conway on the 19th of May, the same day that the charge was filed in court in 2021, the same day the charge was filed in court, even before those who were in Guyana, including Mr. Conway, appeared in court, which they did on the 20th of May. Mark Phillips wrote to us for us to show cause why he should not advise the president to have us removed from the Police Service Commission based on the charge, the day that the charge was filed. So if they are efficient, the day Brutus went to court Thursday, by Friday, he should have got the interdiction notice interdicted and placed on half pay. And forget about all of them. I see one of them, an ex-German writing today. I haven't read the thing properly, to say that he should be dismissed and sent home. You can't. Well, they could do it, but it's unconstitutional. He is presumed innocent, and I am batting for Brutus. I am saying what the law says. He's charged criminally. Yes, 30 charges were to him on Thursday. He is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So you can't dismiss him. but you should certainly interdict him. And we note that in the 2023 report from the Complaints Authority, it was mentioned that ranks are charged criminally and they are not interdicting them from duty. Justice retired Ramlal, said so in the report. And I told them what they got to do. Let me repeat it because they aren't bright, you know. They are not bright. What they have to do, from the time he appeared in court, the commissioner acting the extended squatter has to write to the Police Service Commission to tell them that Brutus, Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus, appeared in court on this particular date. It will be whatever date Wednesday was, Thursday was, and to answer to 30 criminal charges. He was put on bail. He was not required. You got to go into whether you required to plea. You got to put on all the details of the charge and all of that. Those things are not necessary. It's just to write to the Police Service Commission to advise them that Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus appeared in court to answer 30 criminal charges, and you might want to tell them that more charges are pending. And on the basis of that, it is recommended that he should be interdicted. And he's interdicted or should be interdicted from the very day he appeared in court, Thursday. He should be interdicted from that date. But I know the extended squatter, he dismissed ranks. So there was no presumption of innocence in the case of those people who were involved in the Quindon Bacchus incident. So even a man who was not on the scene was dismissed from the date. I think it was 5th of July 2022. Dismissed. In total disregard to the Constitution. So maybe they might want to do this. Well, you can't do because Brutus don't appear. Maybe they're going to dismiss it, but they can't. They shouldn't. Can't say can't when they come around. He has to be interdicted from duty pending the outcome of the charge. That should be the process. So I want to know the interdict yes yet, because I've said, given the alacrity with which Mark Phillips acted on the 19th of May 2021, I would think that he would, given all the highlight, how this matter was highlighted all around the Guyana, all around the Caribbean and further field. Everybody know that an assistant commissioner of police by the name of Calvin Brutus was charged with 30 criminal offenses, and they say another 210 are pending. Everybody know about that. So maybe you can use that as a justification for dismissing unlawfully, because the Constitution and the law don't matter for some of y'all. Y'all disregard that totally, including the president. So said the Justice Gino Prasad that he violated the Constitution when he suspended the Police Service Commission the 16th of June 2021. CC, let me bring you in for here this interdiction thing. Go ahead, my brother.
And the Police Service Commission, they have a reputation that they act with alacrity, with breakneck speed. Remember 2021, on the 4th of July, the chairman, Bishop Finley, said that he was waiting on the list.
That's 2022.
Yeah, 22. He was waiting on the list from the recommendation from the Commissioner of Police. And on the 2nd, the Service Commission promoted 252 persons, promoted civilians, promoted persons who had disparate matters pending: Brutus, Karimbash, Shiv Prasad Bacchus, Chevron Jupiter, the triple jumper who jumped with over 100 and something people, and a whole set of irregularities. So they just walk with breakneck speed. I thought by now Brutus would have done get the interdiction notice. You already talk about the procedure. If they don't know, the procedure is charged, commissioner has a right, and then the service commission will act. I hope that I can't act with breakneck speed anymore, but I hope that they will act before long, that with a lot of speed. And to interdict Brutus, that is what the law required. Justice mustn't appear to be done. Justice mustn't be done, but must appear to be done.
Now, I'm sure they're going to interdict you. I'm almost certain they're going to interdict you. But the question is, some people are saying, the question is asked, if when he is interdicted, would he be allowed to remain in the police quarters that he currently occupies? He then one of the senior officers' quarters across there in the compound, the same compound that SWAT went to that was last week, Wednesday night. SWAT went there, they said to execute someone, which was never executed, and he wasn't arrested. It's the same compound. So we want to know, the question is asked, I don't know the answer, but people are asking whether he should remain. There was a report or an item circulating sometime last week, I think last week, Friday, to say that the thing said that the vice president ordered that Brutus must remove from the police quarters by 8 p.m. Friday night or face eviction, and that he should also lodge his firearm and all of that. Those were things circulated. I don't know how true it is, but I'm saying that the question has to come up as to whether this one with 30 criminal charges and 210 pending, notwithstanding the presumption of innocence, we're talking about optics. How we gonna look to see a man with all them charges, senior man with all them charges, live in the police compound? Are they gonna allow that? And you know, he himself said that he had a lot of privilege and so on. He never buy food. I know from long, like Lewis introduced that, where officers in the first instance, and then it filtered down, you get a lunch at the officers' mess. You come there, you get your lunch at the officers' mess. I know that he did getting lunch, and I hear he getting 3 square, and not he alone. The rumor is, or the allegation is, he and his family getting 3 square. Will they continue to give him the 3 square? Will they continue? Now, before I go on, I should have advised, let me put back this thing in, man. I should advise, in addition to pressure tablet and so on, they get, you look for Pampers, yeah? And Brutus had an old stack of toilet paper somewhere at the mess. So you can get Pampers to Big Smith, and you can get toilet papers. All like you got to get adult pamper. Them adult pull-ups or whatever they call it, adult pamper. I have to tell you. I'll give you advice. I'll give you advice. So yeah. So is he going to be allowed to remain in the quarters, police quarters, getting free food for himself and family? Questions to be asked. I believe, let me say this, even though one would say he's still a member of the force, which he is, the fact that you have him charged criminally, I believe he should not be there in that compound. He should not be living in the police officers' mess compound with his neighbors being 2 other senior officers. It can look good. It look bad. And it's not that his official address, according to the document we saw with the document we saw with the registration of the company, somewhere at Aslington. He said he has an official arrest there. He has an official arrest. He got to live where he official arrest. Come out to the police quarters, man. Come out. How do you get a man with 30 criminal charges and 210 pending in the police compound? Well, certain police, them recruit have a salute and 70 pass. It is inappropriate. This is how he went to court dressed in his police uniform, even though he's on administrative leave, and even though his current designation was head of special branch. Special branch wear uniform, but they allow you to go to court with uniform. Embarrassment. He did that specifically to embarrass them. He did that to embarrass them. And maybe he succeeded in doing so. Right? Now, let me say this. Not only me laughing, not only me laughing, a lot of ranks are celebrating the fact that Brutus is before the court in all his criminal charges because of what he did to people. What he did to people. Let me highlight some of them. The first person. You see, your memory shallow. Sometimes in 2021, the police at the opening of the officers' conference held at the National Culture Center, Pastor Patrick Dulachan, the force chaplain, prayed. And let me pray the prayer. Not for y'all, you don't know, but Patrick Dulachan prayed. And y'all sit back, folks, and listen to the prayer by Pastor Patrick Dulachan. Listen to it.
This day, we lift the Guyana Police Force before you. And Father, today, if we are honest, we're able to say that this force is hemorrhaging right now. We stand in the gap and we confess the sins of this noble organization. We confess every spirit of racism in this organization. We confess the spirit of corruption and bribery. We confess the spirit of injustice. And we declare, oh God, even now, above all, we confess the disunity. And we pray, oh God, that right now, that this force is so fragmented that unless you help this force will continue to be in trouble. The words of Jesus declare that if any kingdom that is divided cannot stand, Jesus said any house that is divided will fall. Any institution, the Guyana Police Force is no exception. And if there's not unity and togetherness in this force, they will continue to face major issue. We pray for this force even now, oh God, that this force today will understand that when they come together, like Joshua, as he was leading the children of Israel along the walls of Jericho, your word said, it was when they were together and in one accord, then the walls came tumbling down. Your word declared that even in the days of Solomon, when the trumpeters and when the worshippers were as one, then the glory of God came down. Father, we pray today, we are reminded of the words of the Apostle Paul. He said, mark them that cause division among you and avoid them. People today who God is putting themselves above this noble organization, it will bring disaster and calamity. So as they will be deliberating for the next couple days, let there be oneness among them. Let there be good relationship among them, because when they're in one and have good relationship, then they can accomplish the impossible today. Bless every aspect of their program. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen and amen, Pastor Dulachan. That was in 2021, that prayer, early in 2021. Talk about the spirit of racism. You talk about corruption. You talk about fighting up, and same thing persisting. The warning signs were always there. The warning signs were always there. There were clear signals. The Chief Justice said on the 28th day of June 2021 that she found Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus to be self-serving. And what they do? They did nothing. About fact, what they did was to promote him to Assistant Commissioner. How did he get there? This is not something that happened overnight. The government came into power on the 2nd of August 2020, and within 2 weeks, on the 16th of August 2020, Brutus was brought from Borbies to head the admin as a senior superintendent. Never before, no experience. He doesn't have the appropriate rank, not at all. They put him there. They put him there. So you see now they're making nice and all this type of thing. The writing was on the wall. And let me tell you more. Apart from, you know what happened after Pastor Dulachan said that prayer? By the time that function was finished, the president was there. He got a letter from Brutus. Brutus dismissed him immediately, even though he had no such authority. Brutus dismissed him. Nigel Appy was the man carrying out the function of the commissioner. Dismissed him, unknowing to Appy. And then when the president learned of it, it is reported that the president said he saw nothing wrong with the prayers. And as a result of the president's intervention, Dulachan was reinstated. He was reinstated. And he had trouble. He had some money. He had trouble getting the money. Wickedness. And I tell me, I mustn't celebrate. Wickedness. Hear the prayer. He went against him, a man of God. Dismissed the man because he prayed about what was truthful and what was seen by all who had eyes to see. The corruption, the disunity, all of that he spoke about. Let me bring in Mr. Stanley to say something about this. We get more to talk about. See, the prayer from Prosecutor Chan, which led to his dismissal from the force. What are your views?
I remember the prayer, and I remember I spoke with Happy. And I said, man, how you could knock off Dooley Chan? He said, by me had nothing to do with it. He said they had a meeting at Home Affairs where admin and them attended, and he wasn't there. And at that meeting, it was decided to send home Dooley Chan. And he said he didn't sign any letter. The letter was signed by admin, and he had nothing. He didn't have anything to deal with it. Here's it. I'm praying for the police force, begging for divine intervention, and we still need divine intervention. And they send you home. Praise the Lord that the president, for once, acted in a godly manner and rescinded that order. But it was really shocking. Here is it. The pastor who they invited, who they put on the program to pray, and he prayed in the name of the Lord, and he gone home. They crucify him.
Yeah, wickedness. Let me tell you some more, and I can bring back Mr. Conway just now. Y'all remember Senior Superintendent Edmund Cooper, who died, the late Senior Superintendent Edmund Cooper. I'll let Mr. Conway tell y'all his story. Y'all remember the late woman Senior Superintendent Charmaine Jones Short? Find out. I mustn't rejoice when you see that. Y'all remember retired Deputy Superintendent Richard M. Tage? I can tell y'all, let Mr. Conway tell y'all about what they did to Cooper, what they did to Charmaine Jones Short, or what they did to LP. What Brutus did to them. What Brutus did to those people. Mr. Conway, tackle about him, tell them about Cooper, Charmaine, and Richard.
Yeah. I remember Cooper while he used to call me dad. And the incident where they had in Borbis, they relieved him of his command, send him at the mountain branch, send him to do equitation, to ride horse. And further than that, they said that he medically unfit, without he getting into a medical board, medically unfit. They sent him home, medically unfit. And then when he died, imagine a man who gone off medically unfit, and he died. And there is it, admin and them arrange a funeral for him, a ceremonial funeral for a civilian. By then, Cooper was a civilian. I remember Charmaine. She was the head of the police band. And well, so the service commission, we get a letter from Brutus saying that she was be brought back to the force as a rural sergeant, yeah, as a sergeant, from a superintendent to come down as a sergeant. Maybe the other thing help or demise, and so many things. And then we had where Brutus held an election and unlawfully installed Prem as the chairman of the police association. And the same day, Happy was performing the duties of had Carl M. Tage, and M. Tage hold another election. So they had two elections in one day for the police association. And then they call Happy to break down. They call Happy to they call Happy to the ministry, and I'm talk to the ministry, the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, and Happy write a letter saying due to mature thinking, he endorsed the election, the fraudulent election where they had Prem Narayan as chairman of the police police association. So a whole lot of things happen on admin. Plenty regular things happen on admin. So it's payback time. What going on now is real payback time.
And what you forget to mention, CC, with that meeting, that election of the police association, Brutus L, the first one, elected Prem Narayan, unlawfully so, So he had no right, no authority to be there. When the duly authorized election was held the afternoon, the RP, who was kind of the function of commissioner, wrote to MTH for him to be the person supervising the election. And he did so. When Brutus learned of that, Brutus had MTH arrested by Soku on the claim that he obtained money by false pretenses, because he said that MTH had passed 60 and he had continued to work. He was there at the manager of the officers' mess. That boy was arrested. I don't think he got the money up to date like today. A lot of money ain't got up to date like today. And you tell me that I mustn't celebrate? It's a wickedness. Let me tell you further too. Let me tell you further. The same RP, I have no sympathy for RP because RP turned out to be very weak. Very, very weak. To allow all the nonsense to go on. But RP was there as the man cannot function. He assumed that position in late July 2020. He found himself in an unfortunate situation because about 2 days or so after he started to perform that function, the government changed. And all sorts of illegal instructions they started to give him. That Aiken must come to admin, to operations, which he did. Then that they bring back Blanham to CID, bring back Caesar to CID, bring back Prem Narayan, bring Brutus from Borpis, the man at Soku, they caused them to put all of those people in place. And they gave Api, they made Api's life, Brutus and the kid made Api's life a living hell. A living hell. Brutus, Api left the country to go on some meeting or something like that. And Aiken and Brutus were the people there, operations and admin. They went ahead and unlawfully and illegally promoted a lot of people, from corporal to sergeant. Promoted them in the absence of Api, the commissioner. When Api returned a few days after and learned of it, he vitiated the promotion, tell them, said, no, it is unlawful. Which is called is unlawful. He was called to the ministry, and they instructed him to recognize the promotions. Api had to go and eat humble pie. Ought to go and eat humble pie. The same judge that is charged with Brutus here now was a corporal. He was promoted to sergeant. And there is I can't find it, but there's a video going around, audio. If you hear how this police sergeant, they don't mind them taking back this effing type from me. I get promotion. No, carrying on, because they promoted him to sergeant and unlawfully. And when he learned that Api was revoking those promotions, he carry on. Policeman on video, cussing out the foulest of language. And you tell me they encourage that? All of those things went on. They got other people who rejoicing too. I remember the sergeant from the East Coast. The sergeant from the East Coast who was charged with neglect of duty. And when the trial was, the disciplinary trial was going on, the virtual complainant, the person who made the complaint, refused to give evidence in the matter. The young officer who conducted the inquiry recommended, and correctly so, that based on the fact that the virtual complainant did not show up, the matter should be dismissed. That was the recommendation from the man who conducted the inquiry. Brutus, as commander on the East Coast, he was the disciplinary authority. He find the man guilty and find the man 1 day's pay. I never forget that. Because we at the Service Commission, when promotions were recommended, were going through the files. And if I remember correctly, Mr. Conway is the one who observed that. That look, because he wasn't recommended based on the fact that he had a disciplinary conviction. But as we did, we would examine the thing in detail, only to discover that the man was cowboyed, so to speak. The man was cowboyed. And there are many other things. When I talk about some of the infractions and so on, they encourage you to bring a lawsuit against me, sue me for how much billions and millions and millions of dollars. The matter dismissed. And then I understand it is appeal. He said it is appeal. The matter appeal. They encouraged this. They created the monster. Sue me for defamation of character. What type of character these people get? I knew them all along. They had no character. none whatsoever, but they sue for deprivation of character. In order to shut you up, to intimidate you, and as I said, to try to ruin you financially. You got to take a lawyer, you got to do all sorts of traveling and so on. But I told you all, whenever I go on my knee, is to pray for you all. And the prayers are being answered. More are going to fall. More. And we will discuss that a little later. More people are going to fall. There are people, senior people in the force, people who occupy positions. You know why? Because they are dishonest. Many of them, they go to court, they hold the Bible, they swear, they tell a lot of lies. I have, and those who know my reputation as a police will tell you that especially when I was traffic chief, there are no police in Guyana, senior rank in Guyana, lock up more people in traffic than me. I used to make it my duty, bring some order into the thing. And do you know, I have encountered, run into many of these people since then. And they have always complimented me. They said, Skipper, we know you used to lock me up. You got a man, Jonesy said you used to lock me up almost every day, but you never tell a lie on me. I said, well, I don't have any reason. He said, I was just unlucky that when I do the wrong thing, you are always around to take action. Not like from people. They hold the Bible, and I made the point that when the most painful part for me, when they brought that trumped up conspiracy to commit fraud charge, me, Mr. Conway, and the other retired and serving officers, to sit there in court, to see people come in police ranks, hold the Bible, hold the Quran, hold the Gita, whatever holy book, and lie their head off. You think those things can go unpaid? And y'all telling me I mustn't enjoy myself? Y'all telling me I must enjoy myself now that to see the downfall? And more are going to fall. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk about that, those couple of things that I mentioned there. See, the sergeant at the East Coast, I remember it's you is the man who pointed that out to us.
Yeah, I remember. There was no evidence, none whatsoever. And the man get convicted, you know. I think one day pay. I saw it. No evidence. The virtual complainant did not turn up, say, hey, I ain't going to give no evidence. And the person who tried the matter quite right to say, hey, dismiss. And when it went to Brutus one day pay. And only that, you know, let me go back to Happy. When Happy was commissioned, they used to get meetings at Home Affairs, regular meetings with Home Affairs with Happy and the other people, including Brutus and others there. And after a while, Minister Ben used to say, all right, end of the meeting, I'm happy. Happy you can go. And X, Y, and Z will remain. And then is when the real meetings used to start. Then is when the decision to make being happy back in the absence of Happy. And then is when they make meetings make with to send home Pastor Dooley Chan there. Happy you know, but it's Happy. Many decisions made being happy back. When the second meeting, when after the real meeting, when after the meeting finished, the minister say, all right, Happy you will go, the rest will remain. And they remain and do their own thing without the authority of Happy. So all them things are coming back and them.
All coming back. See what one corporate named Clay. Some troll. What we say? He said me and you we did enough brand things as police, and he said we corrupt and so on. That is what he said. Well, he had, you know, let us come. I want to see them name, you know, somebody trolling or somebody trolling. Clay, if you want to make them allegations, come with your right name.
Come up with one.
Until then, bye-bye. Until such time, bye-bye. Right? If you want to make allegations, state incident plan.
True.
State such time, you know that, right? Bring some type of evidence to convince people. But you come in and make these allegations. Bye-bye, Clay. Come again with some other thing. And see, let me say as I move on now. Now, let me come to the issue that we're talking about with the but before we go to that, let me say this. In the notification, I told you all that about the dysfunction, about the crisis in management in the Guyana Police Force. And there's evidence of it. We've been talking about it a long time. Almost 2 years now, I've been talking about the crisis in management. So you have a situation since then, as we said, in 2020, a senior superintendent by the name of Calvin Brutus was brought to head the police admin. Never before such a junior rank. The admin position in the force is, perhaps we will tell you, one of the most important functions. along with the Commissioner of Police role. They bring Calvin Brutus, a man who didn't know his ace from his ass. They bring it there. If you look now at what is going on, look now. You have a man in charge of finance who is a superintendent with little experience to manage the finances of the police force. Look at the quartermaster store. The man in charge of the police quartermaster store, and these are units under the man in charge of admin, is an inspector of police. The man at the quartermaster store is an inspector. Up to recently, the man in charge of the transport workshop was a cadet officer. And then following the drug bust on Region 1, they brought the senior superintendent Shah from there and they put him as the transport officer. And they moved the cadet officer, I think, in charge of the Marine section. They have a cadet officer in charge of the police mounted branch. They have a cadet officer, I understand, that was a commandant of the police training school. The force is in crisis. The force is in crisis. And they don't want to admit it, notwithstanding the nonsense that Gail Teixeira wrote to Mr. Norton, where she said, let me read it. I got to continue to read it. And this is an exchange. You know, the Constitution requires meaningful consultation between the president and the leader of the opposition in order to appoint deputy commissioners and the commissioner. And therefore, they started writing. Gail Teixeira wrote on behalf of the president, sometime, I think in September or somewhere there, to say that and she provided a name to say that the president is considering appointing these persons to deputy commissioner and Ikin as commissioner of police. Mr. Norton responded and he said he is in favor of Ikin. Since then, they don't talk about those who are recommended for deputy Ikin. And he pointed out several reasons why Ikin should not be appointed commissioner of police. And Gail Teixeira wrote back. And the last paragraph of the letter she wrote to Mr. Norton, dated the 2nd of October, 2024, hear what she said. I am to inform you that in the circumstances, having considered your contentions, and upon weighing same against the accomplishments of the Guyana Police Force under the superintendence of Mr. Ikin, including the significant decrease in serious crimes, improved public confidence in the force, the overall enhanced performance of the force, and in particular, the performance of Mr. Ikin, His Excellency has concluded that it is in the public interest and in the interest of national security that Mr. Clifton Ikin be appointed Commissioner of Police. That is what Gail Teixeira said. And then we had one named Shorin Crandon. He wrote a letter to say, in his humble opinion, Ikin sells Guyana the way it ought to be sold. In fact, we have read that most of the Caribbean is trying to adopt the principles, policies, and methodologies used by the Ghana Police Force in an effort to reduce crime. Well, I can perhaps, I don't know who Shorin Crandon is, if it's a real person or it's just some troll or something. But I know Gail Teixeira. And I said that perhaps you can forgive her because it might be the effect of excessive use of nicotine. And everybody knows she does smoke a lot. So this nicotine might have had her delusional. To write to say what improved confidence in the police force and all this, there's got to be somebody who's smoking some cow dung or cow shit. This is not even cheap weed. This is some concoction for somebody to write this crap, to talk about the improved confidence in the police force, reduction in serious crime, and this force under the superintendence of Ikin doing so well. They're doing so well that when they had the last big drug bust in Region 1, involving the DA, involving Kanu, and involving the GDF, he was left out. The police force and the commissioner himself were left out of the planning and execution of that operation. Left out completely. Even Robeson once it uncovered the large quantity or the large stash of drugs, and Robeson decided to take the media personnel in there to see part of the operation. He ain't carry Ikin, he ain't carry no police. And you know, you remember, only recently, before I bring it, Mr. Kadri again, only recently, when the media asked Robeson, Minister of Home Affairs, if he has confidence in the police force, he refused to say so. He said, you get confidence in me. I have confidence in myself. The Minister of Home Affairs refused to say publicly When he has confidence in the police force and be able to share right this piece of nonsense to tell the people that. Ropes women say, in other words, he said, you never get confidence in them, I get confidence in me. He didn't say so in those words, but that's what he's implied. Because if you're asked if you have confidence in the police force, you refuse to say so. All you said, I have confidence in myself. It means that you don't have confidence. It means that you're saying that you don't have confidence in the police force. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. See your views on what I've said so far, man.
Yeah, you so correct, you know. Well, let me just go back to the reform, the citizen security program that I had when the same government, when they were previously in government. And we had a citizen security program. Paul Youth started the reform, and then we had the reform, and then Henry Green said, hey, you got to take it over. And they had what we call a strategic plan. Captain Simmons conceptualized, designed, and developed a strategic plan, 2011-2015. We started some good work. I think Patrick Mentor was here heading it. He did some excellent work. He was getting his foot in, and then Seal Al-Qasad scrap it, throw it aside. But there are some important things that the people mention that coming back and haunting us. And here's what I said. Bear with me while I read out some of them. There will be a lack of suitable equipment for officers of the Guyana Police Force to meet new and emerging challenges. Example, increased marine air capacity, improved vehicle, etc. Another one, the Ministry of Affairs does not have a strategic plan to give guidance to the GPF. Next, managers of the GPF will not be equipped to deal with new and emerging challenges arising from modernization. Another one, there be insufficient succession planning to ensure that skilled resources are in place to deal with the plan. Another one, staff may be resistant to change so that activities outlined in the plan may not be achieved or will have to be delayed. Another one, this one is important, alleged perceived corruption within the GPF will adversely affect public trust and confidence in the police. Let me repeat it. Alleged and perceived corruption within the GPF will adversely affect the public trust and confidence in the police force. Insufficient human resource will be available to the police to implement the plan. An increase, and this is important, an increase in the economy of Guyana may increase the demands of the GPF, which cannot be managed with existing resources. And this last one, there are many more. There may be implication of the nature and type of criminality in Guyana as a result of an increase in the population. Example, an influx of non-Guyanese nationals. So since 2011 or thereabout, they had warnings. They had early warnings in terms of what is likely to happen. The projection, the strategic plan implemented by Captain Simmons that they presented to this government, and they talk about all these things. Now these things coming back and haunt us. They had a plan, and then they scrap it, and these things coming back to haunt us. We had early warnings, and here it is. All those things that they mentioned in 2011 are live, are active right now in the Guyana Police Force.
Yeah, my brother. Well said. Now, before we move on, let me invite you again to share. Give me a thumbs up. Yet still, we have almost 2,000 on the live, and I ain't getting the thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up, man. Give me the thumbs up. I'll continue to share. We have much more to tell you about. And as you can see, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, for those persons who have been making the contributions to the upkeep of the program, I thank you very, very sincerely. And for those of you who are interested in the Zelle number is at the bottom there scrolling, and you can see if you are using Cash App, the number there, which is the same. So those of you who want to continue to make a contribution, you know, on the last program here we had on Friday, we had an extraordinary class on Friday. One man afterward commented, I'm out with a certain kind of name that we begging. We are begging. We're telling people if you want to contribute, because people have been reaching out to me to find out how they can make a contribution to the upkeep of this program, and therefore we thought it necessary to provide you with the information. We'll give you the thumbs up, and again, the Cash App and the Zelle, both numbers are below for those of you who want to give a little tap up, as they would see. Now let me move on to the point. We say Brutus, you know, suddenly and unexpectedly withdrew the constitutional motion that he filed against the government. He named a whole set of people. The only thing he was the name was the police, the dog. He named everybody. He's suing them. And let me give you a quick time. You know, your background and the thing, you know, he like to do the teaching. He withdraw the court matter. Remember what happened quickly? He ended up getting the investigated and the deny. It can say no investigation and no money lodge. Remember the tape? I ain't got time to show you all this morning. He said that there's no money lodge and no investigation. And then suddenly after investigation, because the money was large indeed. We're talking about the $60.4 million the police credit union. It was large. The evidence is there. All right. Once the investigation starts, they get the journalist friend who they say they make a thing says I had gone. I see the guy in the press association come out and criticizing the police for calling what they call a reporter or a journalist I had gone or something like that. All right. So they start to, but for say they're coming out to say Soku they had a fishing expedition. There's no evidence against Brutus. All kind of thing they started to say. All sort of thing. Then Brutus moved to the High Court for permission to leave the country because it is said that he had attempted to leave via Timeri airport, that is Jagan International Airport Timeri, and he was prevented from doing so. So he wanted to leave again. Perhaps they say he wanted to go and cut a record deal with Motong or one of those famous record companies. And the government, so he moved to the High Court and sought permission to leave the country. Well, by the time who tell you do that? Because then the government opposed. And in the document opposing him from opposing his application, it was then revealed for the first time that he has 240 criminal cases pending. 240 cases. That is what was revealed in a court document. Now, even before that, the case was 2 Fridays ago, Brutus filed a constitutional motion in the High Court. Among the things he said is that there was political interference in this matter. He mentioned cabinet. He mentioned home affairs. He mentioned the acting commissioner. He mentioned public police service commission. He mentioned Soku, said political interference in this thing. And he asked them to rule. He wanted the court to say that his removal from the admin position was unlawful, ultra virus. That's the removal done by Ikin, because he said Ikin was instructed by cabinet. That's why he said in the document, you know. He said that he went there to brief Ikin about the goings on and special branch, because that is why that was his position, head of special branch. And during the course of that interaction, Ikin received a phone call and he had to go to cabinet immediately. And Ikin advised him that he should wait until he returns. So he waited for some time, and when Ikin returned, Ikin told Brutus that Ikin has been instructed to send him on leave immediately. So he in his pleadings, he said that it's unlawful, it's unconstitutional, and all kind of thing. So he was tackling them. The SWAT people went to his house Wednesday night. SWAT and Soku. They went to execute a search warrant, which was never executed according to him. And then he tell a lot of nonsense there about search warrant, only the person named in the warrant. Nonsense. The only person who's named in a search warrant is the person who swore to the information. But there's nothing wrong with other persons going there to search. Right? We explained that a little while ago. So they went to search, they had search. That is Wednesday, Wednesday. They didn't search the place, neither did they arrest him. And therefore, the question will be asked, and I continue to ask the question, what was the purpose of them going there? Then we saw Thursday now, Brutus in court, fully dressed in uniform, all the media, the market, a lot of media attention, everybody there to greet him. But I know the greeting is also to see when he arrived. 30 charges were read to him. He was not required to plead because the charges are all indictable. We explained that to you again. Indictable charge, if it continues to be indictable, it means that the judge and jury has to decide on it. The magistrate conducts a preliminary inquiry. I don't know if the charges of this nature, you can have a paper committal. But as I know it, you get a preliminary inquiry where the magistrate go through the evidence to make a determination if a prima facie case has been made out. If the magistrate determines that a prima facie case has been made out, then the deposition is sent to the DPP for him to be committed, right? For him to be indicted, for the person to be indicted. Now, once you're indicted, you go up on one of the sessions and you judge and jury. That is an indictable charge. Now, if it is, there is what we call the Administration of Justice Act of 78, AJA, where indictable charges, some type of indictable charges, can be taken summarily. An application is made, and if the application is granted, then instead of the matter going to a preliminary inquiry and to go to judge and jury, the magistrate tries the case. So as it is, as far as I know, this matter is still an indictable, or all the matters are still indictable. I suspect at some stage they might make an application for the matters to be disposed of summarily. So once you go there and the information is sworn to, the magistrate will read the charge. Every charge has to be read. And the magistrate will say to the person, the accused, that the charges are indictable. You are not required to plead. So I understand that. So all of these charges would have been read to Brutus, and he was told that the charges are indictable. He is not required to plead. Right? So teaching you. So all right. So the question of bail came out, and you're put on bail on each charge. So the 30 amounted to $6.2 million bail. I hear a lot of runaround, a lot of bending back took place for him to get the bail on time so that he would not be remanded. Right? I hear they even make representation for him to come back the next day, and the people said, no, if you can't find the money by this afternoon, remand. And I understand the people are very, very accommodating in that they work overtime for him to get bail. Animal farm, so all animals are equal, some are more equal than others. All right. So surprise to me, that I will tell you about these stores, Now Friday, let me put up this other slide. Do I have it? Did I prepare it? I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me see the other slide here now. One moment. No, I don't think it was prepared. Not this one. I'm sorry. There's another slide. I think I'm going to get to show it at some stage, where we learned that Brutus decided to withdraw this constitutional motion. Suddenly, his lawyers wrote to the Attorney General to say that we are discontinuing the constitutional motion against the Attorney General, the Minister of Home Affairs, the Police Service Commission, Soku, the acting commissioner, he withdrew. And the question is why? And having analyzed the timeline and the circumstances, I believe that the only reason that was filed, that is the conclusion I have come to, was to try to forestall the criminal charges. I remember one of the things he said, that this whole investigation was tainted by Soku. His lawyers even wrote to the DPP making a complaint. So I suspect that filing was intended to forestall the criminal charges being filed. But once the charges were filed, the man decided to chuck in. Man decided he didn't want pursuing this constitutional motion anymore. In addition to that, we heard the Vice President 2 Thursdays ago, 2 consecutive Thursdays, say he made statements about the whole thing. And then towards he said, the government and frightened not need Brutus want to sing like sing. He could sing like Dalfos, he could sing like anybody. Let him sing. So he suddenly discontinued the charge. But I don't know. People ask if the deal is being cut or whatever. Charges are already before the court, and they have 210 more pending. So we're gonna wait and we're gonna see how things are going to unfold. Mr. Conway, come in and take a little about it, right?
Yeah, I won't believe it was a bluff, you know. When Brutus filed those constitutional matters, you know, it was a bluff. That bluff so that he would not be charged. But now that he has been charged, he had no alternative than to withdraw that constitutional matter. And then, you know, when you really look at it, you know, I remember the second vice president saying, hey, if Brutus wants, we gonna whistle too. We gonna talk and we gonna respond. And when we respond to will not be complimentary to him. But getting back to the same issue with Brutus, Brutus could not have done that thing all on his own. People had to be complicit. People had to be compromised. The checks and balances were even they were there. They didn't put them into action. You know, people. The whole thing is so mind-boggling that there were no checks and balances. What about the banks? What about the financial intelligence unit? What about all those people there? Nobody inactivate. And then a big question I want to ask: what triggered Brutus to go to court? Did anybody tell him he had to go to court? Were charges was he told about the charges before he got there that is alleged that he was, and was he cautioned? Because according to the judge's rule, it said as long as you got enough, as long as you have evidence which will cause you to suspect that somebody has committed an offense, you have to caution them. As long as you have evidence which will cause you to suspect that the person has committed an offense, you need to caution them. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But whatever you say, maybe put down in writing, taking in writing, and giving in evidence. Full stop. So was he cautioned? Were the individual allegations put to him? All those are things that we need to know. And I'm saying, what triggered Brutus going to court? Who would tell him he had to go to court? And even down to so, why wasn't he escorted to court? Why he had to go in the police uniform? So many things that went wrong there. And I'm making the point that the constitutional matters that he brought before the court was a bluff. And it was intended, as you indicated, for him not to be charged.
Well, then why call he bluff? Then why call he bluff and put the third tip on it with a possibility of 210 more to come. But the slide I was telling you, this is the slide. Look at it here. This is a slide. Breaking news. Assistant Police Commissioner. I got to tell these people to know, he's not Assistant Police Commissioner. He's Assistant Commissioner of Police. All these reporters on the papers and all these people making the same mistake, the rank is Assistant Commissioner. So when you write, you're supposed to be Assistant Commissioner of Police, not Assistant Police Commissioner. Right? So please and thank you. Now, here what the things say. Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus has discontinued his High Court challenge against the Attorney General, Minister of Home Affairs, Police Service Commission, Acting Police Commissioner, and the Special Organized Crime Unit. The embattled policeman had moved to the High Court to challenge the decision to send him on leave and allow for an investigation into the alleged financial crimes. So that is the slide there that I was looking for a while ago. I see here, Brutus withdraws High Court case against government and police force over the Soku probe. Right? So, thanks for sharing. I see the numbers mounting. But keep sharing, man. Keep sharing. Keep sharing. We have something more to discuss. Now, let me tell you this. First of all, Mr. Conway alluded to it. What happened to the oversight? When I look to see the allegation, mind you, as to what Brutus did at the Police Consumers Co-op Society. At the Police Consumers, where it is said, hold on, now, let me find it. And I hope that it's not you can write this thing, because if you look at today's Stabrook News, the editorial, they're claiming that thirdly, there's a force, the force, it was alleged that on the 16th of November, let me read back from the first. Let me read back. They're saying that he was charged with two counts of conspiracy to commit felony obtained by false pretense. In a separate charge, Undernika Alder, his wife, was made to answer 2 counts of money laundering. They were not required to plead and were placed on $1 million. Additionally, Mr. Brutus was then charged with 21 counts of liability of an official. Under the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act, he was not required to those charges. The case was adjourned to the 18th of November 2024 for a report, and Mr. Brutus has to return to court later to air the remainder of the charges. Well, we don't know if this later means before the 18th or between now and the 18th. Because remember, the 18th that they're talking about here is in relation to the charges that were read to him. So don't be surprised if he has to return before to answer to some of these the 210 they say that are pending. Then they say the liability of official provision under the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act has not apparently been used before. So the man get an X-Force. An X-Force, the most. Mark accounts, $800 million, the most, right? And he get a lot of 240 charges, the most. Now they're saying that this charge that relates to the liability of an official, the provision under the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act has never been used before. So the man going into the history books. I don't know to tell you what they tell you what we can deal with that on Wednesday. But there's one thing. It was also alleged to say that on the 16th of November 2023, the Ghana Police Force Headquarters, he instructed Woman Inspector Collins of the Police Consumers Co-op Society to prepare a check in his name for $20 million. The money was supposed to be used to purchase items for the Ghana Police Force, but were never used to purchase it, and instead it was allegedly deposited in Mr. Brutus's personal account. Then they go on to say, thirdly, it is alleged that, hey, I said, I hope it's not you can write this, Listen to why I'm saying this. Listen carefully, student. This is what Stabrook News editorial says here today. He said, thirdly, it is alleged that on the 31st of June, it is alleged they're using the calendar of Ikin, because they wrote in today's editorial to say that thirdly, it is alleged that on the 31st of June at Ghana Police Force Headquarters, he instructed another police officer to hand in 221 payment vouchers, which he paid to his wife. That's what they're alleging. And they say another police officer. The thing says Bharat Prasad, the finance officer. Bharat Prasad, the finance officer. But I'm hoping that this is not June 31st, they got one in charge. This is what Stabrook News editorial says. But I'm hoping. But let me say this. I cannot understand for the life of me how this man can be alleged, they're alleging that he lick up the police consumers in the manner that he did. In one case, it says $60 million. And then this one says $20 million. The check must be written to him, right? The check must be written to him. And I get the details of the other one too. But you know why I'm saying that? There used to be, when I left the force, I think since Larry Lewis time, even before, used to have a consumers meeting. A police co-op consumers meeting, I think it was every Thursday at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, sometimes every Thursday, where the manager of the police consumers, for most of the time I was in the senior position there, it used to be Neville Kodangan, now a deputy superintendent. It used to be the manager. You have to come with his secretary and the people for the commission, and they have to present financial statements so we can see the health of the police consumers, how it is going. Because the police consumers is members of the force, shareholders. They pay the money and they buy shares into the police consumers. And we used to have an oversight. We, the senior managers in the force, used to have an oversight of that police consumers. So if there is the oversight, how come this man can cause them to make out a check for $20 million in his name? And then in another instance, one of the other charges said he did something similar for $60 million for repairs and all of that, and the repairs were never done. $60 million, and you no oversight. But let me tell you what one the problem is. Mr. Conway will come in after this. And these things can be checked, you know. The talking also, I think I'm referring it to people like Ropes and Ben and the vice president and all of them talking. Examine what is going on. That's what we say, you got to get a thorough investigation that SOCU cannot do. Right? Police, the same consumer co-op. During the time, Brutus came to headquarters at admin on the 16th of August 2020. Between then and when he get trouble, all the people them at the top, Kodogan, who was the manager, moved. The other inspector, the thing was De Silva or De Souza, something like that, they moved. They moved the people with knowledge and experience. And they're leaving the people who and get knowledge. Check the police finance office to see how many persons were removed from the head position. Mr. Conway had the figure there some time ago. He said 20-something people removed during that piece of time. Check the quartermaster stores to see all the persons who were removed in that period of time. Check the police construction section. Another place where a lot of money is diverted to. Check to see how the people removed. So it would appear that the scheme was to remove people who may have had the knowledge and who could tell you no. Who could say, well, look, this thing don't go so. And you put people who, some of them are very timid. As we can see, the police finance officer, Bharat Prasad, superintendent, very junior rank for the limited experience and all that. They might tell you to write, they claim here that he write a check for from the police welfare fund to him for 7 million and one for 6 million. 7. You know that you're wrong? You don't know that is wrong, right? And I tell them already, and I'm saying it again, that you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And if the order is unlawful, you got to make a decision whether you're going to tell them very politely and respectfully, sorry, sir, but I can't do this, or whether you're going to do it and face criminal consequences. You know, when you look at what transpired there in a relatively short space of time, I am talking about this man came to headquarters in the admin position on the 16th of August 2020. The government bring you there. They came into power on the 2nd. They brought him there on the 16th of August 2020. And then the man, this scheme, as Mr. Conway pointed out, this diabolical criminal scheme cannot have been done by one man. Other people must be involved. And that is why I join all those who are saying this thing requires an international investigation, people with international experience. So notwithstanding the fact that they claim that they bring 220 charges against Brutus, this thing is far wider than that. The question is asked, what happened to the banks? There's a police officer whose salary is 490 something, 400, what is it? Take $400 Guyana a month, like 2,500 US, call them 500,000 Guyana dollars a month. The man can say, look, he ain't spend the money for how many years he pack up there. The man can withdraw from his salary account $60-something million for paper property. And you want to tell me this does not trigger a suspicious report earlier than now? They jump around now because we keep hammering it on this program. It's a failure of the entire system. And that is what has to be addressed, not the fact that Brutus licked up the system or alleged to be licking up the system and you're investigating Brutus. They told us too that this was triggered when Brutus deposited sometime in January $46.4 million. And the Financial Intelligence Unit reported to SOCU for them to conduct an investigation. Brutus said that the $46.4 million he deposited then was gifts before, during, and after his wedding, and gifts he get for Christmas, $46.4 million, right? Then Ikin, the acting commissioner, wrote a statement that sought to justify or try to say, well, yes, this is so. I understand they got other people. One man wrote to say he gave him 10,000 US as a gift. Some other body said they wrote and gave him $1 million as a gift. I am saying, when you look at the King statement, it is clear that he was trying to cover for Brutus. Clear. The statement get more holes than wire mesh, than a strainer. And they on the face of those statements, this investigation done. That is what they told us. For the $46.4 million. I am saying, did they contact all of these people? That even if a man say give you $10,000, why would he give you 10,000 as a gift? Who is this man? What type of business he's in? All of these things ought to have been investigated. All of these things have to be investigated. And I am saying too, it is not too late. They got to go get to the bottom of this thing. Because this is a cancer. It has spread to a lot of places. And just cutting out Brutus is not going to be sufficient. I have said that based on Ikin's statement, he too should be charged with misconduct in public office for saying that he accepted $8.5 million from a businessman and he counted it in his office. That is misconduct in public office, and that might even be perversion of the course of justice. And you tell me you are an investigator, and then guilty share telling me this is this man who is doing so well. He's doing so well that they're going to make him commissioner. Make him commissioner. And instead of investigating and as they say, let the chips fall where it may, what are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? You get the police, I be saying that the PS Home Affairs is the accounting officer. PS Home Affairs is the accounting officer for the police force. You got the police, people the police finance. You got the Ministry of Finance. All of them sleeping at the wheel. Nobody has seen before now that something is going wrong. My God, this is mind-boggling. And we're saying Soku, because people in Soku named Carlington, has been hustling for involved with other unethical or unlawful arrangements. That is what they're saying. And all of these things need to be investigated. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, your views on what has transpired so far, my brother.
Well, you are correct, Paul. They got to be more intensive investigation, and them created the monster. Is them created the monster? They allowed him to roam and to roam wild and to do all sort of things based on the allegations that we saw forthcoming. And he can too. If he can correct, I instituted a policy of motivating my officers through supporting them for special occasions such as weddings, birthdays, anniversary, and providing support from stakeholders, from a stakeholders approach, whatever stakeholder approach may mean, and who admitted, hey, he collected $8 million from one individual, a businessman, to pay for the wedding at the Pegasus. Huh? If that is, he can say, perhaps he can, and then I want to suspect he can write a statement, somebody write it maybe and tell you, hey, sign, a matter going to come up in court very shortly, where it will be disclosed that a certain person was given a statement, somebody write the statement for the person, say, sign, and after a couple of weeks, the person signed the person thing there, That thing is that that what go on there, is that persons had to know, or they know that they were complicit or they were compromised. We got to stress the point. The Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Finance, people in the police force, what happened with the meetings, what happened with the checks and balances, and the others emerging. Proper, more in-depth investigation got to be done on the quartermaster store. Many things that didn't come to light took place. Many things come to light that didn't took place. They even had one recent with the present investigation where a certain female was prevented from leaving the country, and this had the approval of the Ministry of Home Affairs, where the Home Affairs was personally involved. A certain female prevented from leaving this country, who applied for leave, was prevented from leaving the country. And I mentioned it, and I'm going to repeat it, where financial irregularities taking place. where the members of the Special Constabulary, years ago we had Guystack, where, and after Guystack was dissolved, where members of the police force, we have what we call the special constables, and then we have the regular special, they call them the regular special, where persons who are working with the ministry and working with the corporation are being paid. Now, since the squatter took over, all of them are now special constables, full stop. So the government is paying the salaries of the special constables. And on the other hand now, we have the corporation, the ministry, also paying the salaries of those persons. And understand they're fiddling with that money. They're fiddling. Things will start on a small scale and then became too large. For instance, right now in Borbis, and Borbis is special to me, where they had over a week now, they had the conclusion of the Chamber of Commerce. They had an activity at Kanji there, where they talk about the fair. And police work there. Some police work there from 3 in the afternoon till after 1 in the morning. And even when they come off at 1 o'clock, they even get transportation. So the Chamber of Commerce paid in a sum of money to them for which called extra duty. And so far, not a person has been paid the extra duty funds. They are using the term, they're licking up the funds. Not a person has been paid the funds. And then understand, the top gunner there say that you all work for 4 days, 4 nights straight, but 1 night got to go back to the government. The government was involved. It's the Chamber of Commerce. And why I work for 4 nights and then 1 night got to go back to the government? And I got people there who go and give seat time, who go and give face time. You know, you go to just take up your seat and after a while you go along your way. Or you go and show your face and you go along your way. And those persons are being paid. Whilst those who work from 3 in the afternoon till 1 in the morning are not being paid. Them and paying them. And they're saying that the one day got to go back to the government. The government isn't involved in that. And that's how they're licking up the money. And that's how the thing's starting with that there, and it becomes big. So they have early warnings, and they're not doing anything with it. Somebody need to investigate what is going on in Borbis with the financial irregularities. A lot of financial irregularities taking place in Borbis, and they get warnings and they do nothing. Perhaps they're waiting for another big thing blow up. So I'm saying that a lot of financial irregularities taking place, and I'm saying again that Suku cannot investigate it. It's too widespread. It's a cancerous. It tentacles there all about the place, and they need to do proper investigation, not Suku.
There's a need for proper investigation. We're saying that all along, and we'll continue to say it. For the students who are telling me that there's a plant, and I deal with it already, ma. Your teacher already deal with it. I got time with them on the thing. I got time. Now, continue to share. You know, we're not finished yet. I know you have done well in the past couple of minutes. We have not finished as yet. We have a few more minutes to go. I want to, there's one that I missed earlier, a birthday of a squad mate, W367 Valerie Basil. Basil is celebrating our natal day today. Valerie, we were in the same squad in training school. I think she came in a few days after us. 367 Basil, 368 White, and 369 Murray. They came in a day or two after the body of us in March of 1974. So happy birthday to you, Valerie. Now, let me say this. When you look at the money laundering allegation, the warning signals were there. They got 3 stages of money laundering. 3 stages. I made a note of it. 3 stages. First one is placement. I don't have the time to go into all the details. The placement, and then after placement, you have the layering or structuring, and then after that, you have the integration, where you try to integrate the money into the system. But it is there when you look at the all that is saying with money being tried to clean up, coming as wedding gift, coming as birthday gift. And That is part of the warning signals to tell you that money laundering taking place. When you know these allegations about this enough money people paying for gun license and all this type of thing, God, when you pay them money for gun license and the thing accumulate, they have to find a means to integrate it into the system, into the financial system. So you see the allegations about properties all over. They open business and challenging business to the wife. Now, I am saying this now, that if a proper investigation is done, they're saying that the bank accounts that are frozen for Brutus' wife get a total of $300 and something million inside. Let's assume, for argument's sake, as he is saying, that these were payment for goods supplied. A paper trail should be there to tell you the amount of goods supplied over a period of time and the cash value. And I am sure that when you check, you're going to see the cash value is not matching up to the amount of money that is deposited. It is not, it is trying to integrate dirty money. Is part of the structuring arrangement, trying to integrate. So if you do business and the business costs 100, you get a checks totaling $100 million. You get another 100 million dirty money. You put all together, you claim that is clean business. That is how money laundering. This is a simplistic explanation of how money laundering works. Again, you establish what appears to be a legitimate business, but you get this nasty money you're collecting for whether it's gun license, for whether it's other bribe and so on. So you want to bring it, you want to integrate it into the system. So you're putting it under this business. We say these are proceeds from the business. But any good forensic audit will show that it is not so. And that is why I see again, Soku can't do this thing. Soku focusing on one aspect on Brutus. And as was said, there is no way Brutus could have gotten rid of $500 million in cash in bank. 500 million in cash in the bank. Others, you want to tell me others? Can you recall not so long ago, the vice president came out and the vice president said that they are refusing some permit for Iken and Brutus to operate some land pit or sand pit on the Linden Suzaik Highway? The people that applied, they applied for sand pit permission. And that is what you have to do once you get nasty money. You have to find some way to try to make it appear clean. You sit down for the nasty money. It is difficult for you to spend it without drawing attention. So what you want to do, you want to integrate it into the system. And to integrate it into the system, you establish some business. The business can be taking blows, but you will declare that the business is profitable because you're putting the nasty money into the business. They got to understand these things. They have to understand these things. And again, Soku is not competent to conduct this investigation. Soku is not competent to conduct this investigation. When you talk about money laundering, you have several charges of money laundering. Now, when you come to the other charge, what they call the one that I am not familiar with it, and they did say that no one has ever been charged with this offense. Liability of an official under the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. Right? Yeah, Carl, this is what we do, we educate. So yeah, I'm thinking you're referring to the money laundering arrangement. Yeah, because let me say you get, and this is not no little bit money laundering, hundreds of millions of dollars. It is difficult for you to say you're spending this money just like that and not draw attention. So you have to work out a scheme to integrate it into the system. And most people, most money launderers, when they do establish business, so even if the business taking blows, they establish some cake shop or something taking blows, but when you check the books, the business is the most profitable business there is because they're bringing the nasty money and put it there so it appears to be clean. That's the integration. It is integrated into the system and felt to be legitimate stuff. But coming back to this charge, the one where they say the liability of offense provision under the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act has not apparently been used before. So let's see how that will go. And then when you talk about that, if you check the same section, we're going to deal with it on Wednesday, God's Spare Life. Because when you read what the section says, section 685 of that describe this as liability as follows. It tells you what an official who falsifies statements, receipts, or other record issued or kept for the purpose of this act, the regulation, the financial circulars, and other instrument made on this. It goes on and explains what constitute the various offenses. And they're saying, I understand that all the other charges, or most of the other charges that are to be read, relates to this accountability, the liability of an official. So in addition to the larceny charge, in addition to those charges obtaining by false pretense, right, conspiracy and all of that, they have this liability charge to bring, liability of official. So let's see where that will go. So, folks, we have so many things, so many other stuff to tell you about, but unfortunately time is not on our side this morning. We are already here for 2 hours. But you know, before I bring in Mr. Conway, I gotta give some people, I gotta take me therapy too. I gotta take me therapy. So let me find me therapy, and then I will bring in Mr. Conway to close. I gotta get me therapy, man.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims
he's a friend of ours, Mr. Su. Who? Su? Friend? Relationship? First time the man heard the word relationship. That word was never in his vocabulary until Isobel Young, or what's your name, said relationship. Relationship? If you see the brain working overtime for come up with some excuse. And I'm saying this before I bring in Mr. Conway. That allegation is so damning that if we want to talk about transparency, if we want to talk about accountability, it is in the interest of the Vice President to have an independent and credible investigation done on that. Because until such time, similarly to the force, independent and credible investigation, the stench is going to remain. The stench is going to remain. Such a damning allegation, in case you don't know, the allegation is that the people say so tell them that the Vice President takes 500,000 US from businessmen for any contract or not. Damning allegation. Why don't you want a credible investigation to clear your name? Why don't you want? People must be afraid of something. And then he tells Brutus, let him talk if he wants to, because talk don't bother me. Old people can know the song. My posting them can know the song. Let them talk if they want to. Talk don't bother me. I want the old wild world to know. Music. Let me bring him Mr. Conway to give his closing, and then I'll come back and close us off. CC, your closing remarks, please.
I just want to repeat that this thing needs deeper, wider investigation from top to bottom. And then interestingly, I was doing a little read up about money laundering, and it's saying in the money laundering, in the case, the onus of proof has been reversed. That is, it is the accused who's got to prove where he getting money from. They reverse it, that the onus of proof has been reversed, where normally that if I accuse you, I have to prove. But now with the money laundering situation, the onus of proof lies with the accused, that he or she got to decide that to prove how they get the money. So the whole thing would be very difficult for some person. How you get this kind of money that you have there. And let me close off of that. The onus of proof has been reversed, where the accused has got to prove how he got the money.
Yeah, well said. And Rastaman, you're right. I didn't, last time I was trying to remember the singer. Rastaman said the song they let him talk is Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore, correct. And I was trying this Saturday night, I can't remember the name of the singer. Bobby Moore, let them talk. if they want to. Cause talk don't bother me. So the vice president know the song. Let them talk if they want to. Now let me close by saying this. Let me tell you this. I have lots more to talk. But remember, I haven't quoted from G.H.K. Lal in a while. And G.H.K. Lal said what we have today is not a government, but a gang of gangsters. He said for the most part, what Guyanese are for leaders today are nothing more than out of control lunatics, pathological liars, unreconstructed racists, and political sadists. That's what G.H.K. Lal said. I have to keep reminding you of that. I have to keep reminding you of that. Folks, we have had a good morning. As I said, again, it is scrolling day. Those of you who are inclined to make a contribution, Zelle and Cash App. And while we were speaking on the program, I saw on my phone at least one person has made a contribution on Zelle and one has made a contribution on Cash App. I thank you guys very, very much. Even those who cannot make it, come and listen and learn. As the person said, you're still learning. Come and listen and learn. We will continue to bring you the information. We will continue to dissect all of these statements that are made. So let me understand that. So folks, as I said, we've had a good morning. There's much more to talk about with this same Brutus issue, a lot more to talk about. But as I've said, the time for this today is almost up. And God's Spirit Life, we're gonna come again on Wednesday. We're gonna come again on Wednesday, and we are going to bring you another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. So until then, stay well until then, and we are going to see you here Wednesday, God's willing. Until then, bye.